Hello, hello. Julie, how's it going? Hello, Christina. Undercracker Day. How's it going? Is this my first project live stream in the cottage? I think it might be. Hi, Tanya. How's it going? I don't think I can't even think. I don't think I've cut and sewn anything here yet live, right? So, hello, Margaret. How's it going? Hi, Tiffany. Julie, I bet if you comment right now, you might be number one. Because I think it already awarded it to you. Oh, no, never mind. Her doesn't hear what you're making. These are really easy to sew. Like very easy to sew. I cleaned my glasses and I made them much, much worse. They weren't even bad to begin with, so. They're really not bad to make, honestly. I'm gonna be using a serger and a cover stitch today. Does make it go a little faster, but a zigzag would work great. What in the heck did I just do? Did I just happened? Man, the eye doctor is imminent. I think I told you guys I got out of someone's car, and their car is just different than mine, you know, like the proportion of everything. And my glasses fell out and I stepped on them immediately. So, yeah. Hi, Susan. How's it going? All right. So, hi, Rachel. Maybe I'll just keep saying hi for a bit. How's everything look and sound? Everything's okay? We're going to be cutting and sewing today. So we're going to go to the sewing machines as well. No, what, Tiffany, what? It doesn't sound okay? Doesn't look okay? What's wrong? And I might need to make it cooler in here. I'm already getting warm. Tell me. So it is Menswear Sewing Month for me, at least. This is my annual tradition that I sew for, the glasses, yeah, exactly, yeah. I was actually using an older prescription just because the scratches were annoying me. But and then I forgot my glasses altogether on my trip recently, and I had my ones I hardly ever wear. I know I'm getting off topic, but I think I used to be one of those people that would just, it's just any little thing happening, I would sit there and be thinking about it for weeks, right? We're going on a trip. I'm thinking about it for weeks. What am I going to wear? What am I going to pack? What do I need to do to get ready? What do I need to have? Blah, 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 right? I'm not a super uptight person, but I like being prepared, and I like things to be welcoming when I get home, you know? As a few things happened in my life, I just stopped, whatever happens, happens. Literally nothing is that important anymore to me. Things are important, but they're not it's not life and death. You know what I mean? And when I leave town now, sometimes I bring so little and I just walk out the door. This has repercussions sometimes, but honestly, am I traveling anywhere that I'm not going to survive or be able to buy something if it really needed it? Or could I just do without it, you know? And you think you can't live without certain things, but you really can. So, yeah. I was more concerned about cleaning my house because I had already let it go an extra week, and I didn't want to come home and have to do that tomorrow. So, it's just me and Michael. So anyway, oh, Tiffany, yeah, no, that is something I established very early on with relationships, because I think I had a boyfriend like that just, where'd I leave my keys? Not your mama. I don't even, when I change the sheets on the bed, I change the sheets on my side of the bed. I don't change the sheets on his side of the bed. If you want clean sheets, you know. So that was the best thing we ever did, right? Is getting two twins pushed together. We got a king that's two twins. So yeah, I've been there too, Tiffany. I have been there, like, you know, I have been the mama. That does get better when they get older. You just gotta hesitate. Anyway, it is my annual month. Speaking of which, I sew menswear because it's my husband's birthday at the end of the month, and it's my tradition to make him something. So, and he had requests this year, which made it really easy because every year I'm like, what do I make? What do I make? You know, there's just not a lot of, there is a lot of great menswear patterns. Like some of the Know Me patterns are amazing. They're so cute, so awesome. They're just not really Michael's style for the most part. And maybe I could make them for somebody else, but not the guys in my family all kind of have the same kind of style. And Michael loves those patterns. Like he's seen them. He's like, those are really cool. They're just, I don't know. They're just not his style. So I don't know. Anyway, so he requested new jeans this year and underwear. So that's what we're doing. Oh, that's good, Tiffany. Oh, thank you. Who's PS? I'm glad to hear that. I think this is my first project from the cottage. And if you are watching this on replay, I do not have I used to have a little video intro that told you, please don't go in my comments and say, who are you talking to? This lady, she is so unorganized. All she does is talk to herself. Look, it's a live stream. If you don't like live streams, just find a different video. That's just how I feel about that. I will be semi-polite to you if you complain in my comments. Semi. I have warned you. This is a live stream. We are here to hang out, chat, sew together. You can ask me questions. You can challenge the way I do something. You can suggest, recommend, whatever. Yeah, just move along. Live stream for me is about building community. My uploaded videos build my channel. My live streams build my community, and I love these guys. So this is awesome. Anyway. All right, so I am making the Pinup Girls pattern, men's underwear version 2. There are 2 views. These are the 2 views. I'm making the bottom view, ironically called Michael, not intentional. I have made these for him before, and he liked. I made 2 styles last time, and this was his favorite, which I just learned recently. I made 1 pair yesterday because I decided to kind of crack open the pattern, which is right here, and kind of see what, like, I had to figure out which pattern it was that he liked because there were 2 in my envelope for Michael, and I wasn't sure which one he liked, or if he liked both. And so I needed to compare them. But I also just checked the pattern, trying to refamiliarize myself with how it sews together, because it does look really confusing, even though it's really easy to sew. And I'm gonna say, I bought this a very long time ago. Well, very long time ago. I mean, you can see when I live streamed this the underwear, I bought the pattern shortly before that. Maybe it's been updated. Maybe I'm sewing them wrong. I'm just giving you caveats, but none of the seams for me match and none of the notches match. So I'm just saying that if you get this pattern, you may want to walk the seam lines of the size you're choosing, but maybe I'm doing it wrong. I have scoured the pattern to see if you're supposed to ease pieces together. I do not see that in there. It says 1/4 inch seams. Maybe I have that wrong. I don't know, but I have pretty much changed things so they sew together. I'm going to show you what I did just so you're aware. All that being said, when I made these for Michael yesterday, and I just said, okay, because we picked a different elastic this time, which is kind of a big change when you change elastic style. I wanted him to try them on, and he said these are the best fitting underwear he's ever had in his life. So that's why it may be worth, you know, so so let me show you, let me brighten it up so I can show you these. Yeah, Rachel, I feel like I never tell a pattern company something is off. Like I keep meaning to tell one pattern company the grade is flipped on one of their pattern pieces. just because I feel like that is such an easy thing to have happen, and I would want to know if it were me. We're gonna brighten this way up, sorry. Blasting your eyeballs for a short minute. So, all right, so this is the front of these, all right? This is the front. Pretty simple, right? That goes into one inseam, right? And then the back here is one piece. The seam's right here. Let me just orient you a little bit just in case you're trying to sew this. So this piece right here is this one right here, okay? It's got the little hook. This is your inseam. And then the front here, this and this wraps around. So it sews together like this, okay? So now I have found that the inseam here, I had to decrease 1/4 inch on this one to match this. And when this is sewn together, it's like this, right? So it's like this. You're sewing this together like that, kind of like that. And that didn't match. And then these notches didn't match until I removed 1/2 inch off the top of this piece right here. So yours might be different for your size or whatever, but I just thought I would share that. These are okay. No, I moved these notches down about 1/8 of an inch. Everything is a little bit off, but it's tricky to know where to change things because they're also interconnected. So just be careful. That's why I took this off the top, because I was like, well, shoot, if this seam doesn't match here and I take it off here, I will have like a really weird angle here at the hem. So why not just take it across the back? So I did a sample. Like I said, best pair he's ever had. So there's that. This is how I'm sewing them today. Oh, let me show you the inside. The inside, there is a sling. Again, I made some changes to this as well. I think I changed it the first time I made this because this is overlapped quite a bit. And then today, do you see this right here is the original line? And I went boop like this. That is this right here. And I'm showing you that because you can see that when I sewed it, I didn't quite get this kind of in there nice, because what happens is this inner edge here will pull, and you're kind of fighting this front panel pulling down. And because I'm cover stitching this elastic on, this is against the machine and I can't see it. So I'm just giving myself a little grace here, and I'm kicking this inner edge up 1/4 inch just to straighten it out. It will lengthen the sling, but if I'm not catching it, it don't matter. I need to catch it. So that's how I feel about that. So you just overlock this inner edge here. I serge all the seams together, do the inseam. I hemmed it with cover stitch as well. And then for the waist, I am sewing this with a double needle cover stitch on the wide, wide needle setting. There's like a narrow and a wide. And I'm just laying the elastic on top of the fabric like this and cover stitching it on. So you might see a little bit, like right here, see a little bit of my raw edge is flapping around. So I've been sewing knits a lot lately, so my knit skills are a little unrusty right now, but yeah, I mostly am a woven sewer. I've sewn knits a lot, but you know, I feel like it's just one of those things where you got to kind of alter your way of thinking for a bit when you go to do it. All right, fabrics today are all cotton lycra. He really loves the bamboo or rayon knits, but I couldn't find any I liked. I really wanted the prints or the fabrics to show up on camera. So, oh, and this, I'm changing elastics this year to this I'm going to put all the links to these things in the description so you can find the exact thing if you want. Like this, I'm going to be using woolly nylon thread in the looper of the cover stitch today. I'm using this soft waistband elastic from Waywack, but it is much firmer than the original elastic that I used on his underwear, which was a braided elastic, which stretches really nicely. And he said that's fine, but this is firmer. So it's a full 5 inches longer in length for the elastic than the other ones. So if you're changing elastics or you're trying to use up your elastics, make sure you measure it. So yeah. Hi Derek, how's it going? Ooh, it is very warm here. Hi Eliza. How's it going? How's it going? And hi Amy. Hi Terry. I'm not sure where I left off. I have already stitched my elastic in a loop only because we're going to be on the cover stitch and the serger today. And I'll go over that when we're in the sewing part. Hi Nancy. Okay. I'm just going to use a cotton interlock for the sling, mainly because I didn't think about this fabric. And this one goes with all my fabrics mostly. I asked Michael, I was like, so is there ever white fabric for the sling on the inside? He says, no, it's usually gray. And I was like, oh, I got gray. Because I only had black or white. And I thought black, like on the inside of these would be kind of weird, you know? Maybe on this one, it would be okay. So let me show you my fabrics because some of them are kind of cute. He has not seen them yet, but he's probably going to watch today, but he'll tune in. So we got the, oh, and I laundered all my knit, and then you can see they were very curly. I pinned the edges, like starched and pinned the edges because I just cannot stand curly knit. It's just one of those things, you know? I'm just kind of a baby about it, like I am about double gauze. I have the fries. This is from Bolt Fabric and PDX. It was kind of pricey, but they sell by the half yard, so I could just get a half yard. I got this one from knitfabric.com, little camper trailers. This one also from Bolt. These were both like some special designer. And then he's a big soccer fan. Also knitfabric.com. I did not get to iron and uncurl my edges on this fabric, so we're just gonna watch me cry a little bit, that's all. All right, I'm gonna cut 4, I'm gonna sew 2, because these 2 I'm gonna do with black waistbands. And I figure by the time we've cut 4 and sewn 2, we might all be done. So yeah, and then I'm gonna like off camera cut a few in these darker fabrics and just use up some of my last bits of half yard pieces that I have in this navy blue. I have like a other one that's like a heather left over from something. So I could get 2 waistbands from that package of elastic, and this is what I would have left over, which is kind of nice. It's, I think, 2 yards. All right. So how have you guys been? How has your summer started? Has it been good? Here's my list of changes I made to the pattern. I want to make sure I was like fully transparent that if you go to sew this and you're like, how did you do that? It's very likely the first time I streamed this, I encountered all of this and we went over it. I just don't remember it. So I don't think you have to go watch that live stream. I just think it's good to be aware, you know. So I'm just gonna cut out all the slings now. I need at least 4. Maybe if I go like this a little bit further, I can dip into this section right here. So we'll cut a bunch. You had a very good week. Sunday finished pants, yesterday finished managed. Nice, you're on a roll. I love to hear that. I'm gonna slide this down. I'm really hoping to get enough for all of my shorts. We're just gonna cut as many as we can out of this fabric, you know. This will be the boring part of the cutting. I've been really busy as usual. Mostly working on Fittopedia, which I'm finally like in a really good groove on, but it is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my career, because I'm essentially writing a book, you know, and I don't know how to write a book. But I feel like I have finally figured out how I want it to be presented, what I want to include. It's going to be epic. It's going to be something I'm really, really proud of, though. Maybe we can get this one closer like this. You're getting ready to go to Portland? Oh, for one of your sewing retreat thingies? You finished the new Concord muslin and have a few shirts. Is that the one I was helping you with, Rachel? With the armhole? Oh, you're cutting a pair of chanterelles. I know that pattern very well. Yeah, when we were gone this week because our daughter moved off to college, so I just sort of let myself not worry about being productive this week, and last week I was a little stressed, so I allowed myself to sew a little bit. But we had this really fantastic challenge going on in the guild called Stash Dash, which was really fun. We were all sewing through our stash, and I went crazy on my knits. I just was like, I have had these things for so long. Mainly because I was like, I need knit t-shirts. I'm gonna buy knit fabric, and then I would buy the fabric and not have a chance to sew it, and then run across some cute knit and be like, oh, that's right, I need some knit t-shirt. I kept buying knit. And then when Girl Charlie used to have those half-yard sales, I would stock up on those for underwear. So I feel like finally my knit stash is much more, you know, manageable. I don't know if I cut this in the best way. But I don't think I would have gotten much different. It's an awkward piece of fabric. Because this is one of those Girl Charlie half yards, so you know. Yeah, it was really fun to see everybody cranking it out. It was inspiring. And I made badges for them. Hi, Sue, how's it going? That's right. Nancy, that's right, huh? You ended up buying some fabric. Sometimes you just got to open the fabric up. Let's see if we can get one pair more. I can get one here, but maybe not down here. All right, we'll just set that aside. I think I got 4, which is great. We might have to have a mismatched sling, and I have some navy blue over there, so we're good. All right, so we have this. I'm gonna set this over at the machine. Oh, that's right. My serger needed to be on gray for that. Dang, I just like changed on my thread. You only see a wrench next to whose name? Wait, somebody tell me what this crown is next to me. Oh yeah, you are. No. You have the crown. I don't know. It popped up yesterday in Pattern Chatter. We all were talking about it. It's some new thing to make you guys all call at each other's throats over. I don't know. You are top fan. Okay. So we have this one on the fold here. I could do the sling out of this fabric as well. Like, you don't have to have extra or different fabric for the inner sling, but you could also explore fabrics that maybe are cooler or, I don't know, antimicrobial. What are other options? Maybe meshes. I don't know. We go the lowbrow undie route here. You don't see it on the iPad? Ah. Yeah, Terry. I thought it was funny because it made me admit to everybody in the chat yesterday that I have known a little, whoa, I got a little off track there. I have known that YouTube is kind of like keeping track of you guys lately and your interactions on our channels. And it's a relatively new thing. And what it does, and I could not pull it up for them, like I showed them my channel, but I could not find it anywhere on the desktop version. So I showed my phone, and what it shows me is like who the top fans are for the week and overall. And none of you probably will ever beat Nancy. But I just don't tell you guys that because, like, whatever, you know. You're all my favorites. Yeah, we're going to do a tiny little center notch there. Okay, and then we just need the front panel. Yeah, now you're kind of Nancy. Leave Nancy alone. She just found out all of her stash stuff didn't count, and she didn't get a badge. But Nancy, you already are the top fan on the channel, just so you know. If I opened it right now, I could show you. You have a badge in my app. Do we know this, Nancy? Careful, Nancy, they're coming for you. I'm doing very tiny little notches. I didn't find I really needed these, but you might like them if you don't want to sew with pins with your serger, if that's what you're doing. I find this actually, even though the curves look all swoopy, it's really not too bad. It's pretty forgiving. That's right, Nancy. I sometimes save these little pieces just to have at my machine for, you know, like testing your machines out when you're sewing knits and things. I know this is probably going to come right back, but I'm cutting it off anyway because I really don't like it. You don't need no stinking badge. Okay, that was a bad idea. Oh well. Okay, this is my scrap pile. We're going to set it here. That one, now we have some perch. They had 2 fish prints. They're really lovely, honestly. Okay. I think I might have been feeling a little manic when I did this. This is kind of crazy. It looks like something a manic person might do. Okay. But this is a really lovely print. This half yard feels so much bigger than the soccer ball one, probably because I did flatten this all out. You really do lose a lot of fabric, you know? Yeah, I really hate it. Let's do this. We need a fold. I'm kind of just looking at the grain. I can see it on the fabric. Oh, speaking of which, I went to a fabric store and I do have my little purchase here. I went to the fabric store I used to work at. We used to live where we visited, and let's see, not quite. Here, would you guys like to see what I got at the fabric store? That'll fit. Look at all this. Look at all that. What am I going to do with that? This is, you know. Yeah, I did starch this a lot. So what I did was I sprayed the edge wet. I let it dry. Then I ironed it. I honestly don't recommend iron curling knits. It will not help, but if you wet it with starch, let the starch dry, then iron it with a dry iron, no steam, it will help it a little bit. And then I pinned it. You saw I pinned it with 1 inch of its life. That helps a little bit. I just didn't, like I got these weeks ago, so I just didn't want them to be like in a tube by the time I got to it, you know? So, okay, so, oh yeah, the ruler, neckband under a ruler, I live and die by that. That's like my own little hack I came up with too. Okay, so this fabric store, I want to tell you a little bit about this fabric store. They don't have an online website. This was the second fabric store I've ever worked at, and I've only worked at 2. But they cut on the grain. So you've heard me talk about cutting on the grain. They still do this to this day. So they will find the grain of your fabric, the cross grain, and cut on the grain. They just open the fabric. They just cut blind. You can see the grain on almost all fabrics, right? This was a little remnant I got. It was 2 yards, and I got this for Michael. Maybe me, I don't know. I just like a good yarn dye. I thought this was kind of cute. I can get a camp shirt out of this. I got this linen with a nice little subtle yarn dye, gray and white pattern. Almost looks like herringbone. And then I got this hemp. This is a natural fiber fabric store. They only do natural fibers. This is a pretty stiff hemp. Really, they had some really nice colors, but I got this for a pair of pants. The other really cool thing about this fabric store that I've totally think I've forgotten to tell you all these years is they do a wash test on every single fabric. They take 1/4 yard all the way down. You get to see the entire width. They wash it. They tell you how it's washed, and then they sew on a little piece of paper, and it tells you the shrinkage in length and width. And you can see how the fabric changes during the laundry, and then they hang that on the bolt. They're not going to do like quilting cottons and things like that, but they're going to do any of these fashion fabrics like for clothing. It's so helpful. And they also do this, like, it might not be a perfect 1/4 yard, but yeah, no, they do a perfect 1/4 yard, but they use that as an opportunity to straighten off the edge because when fabric comes to you, they've just hacked off the 15-yard bolt they send the company, the fabric store, and then they that edge might not be straight. Sometimes it most definitely won't be on the grain, so they trim that off, and that'll be like a little tiny strip. Like maybe it'll be like this wide at one end and like a 1/4 inch at the other end. That is folded up and stuck in the bolt. So if you want to swatch, they cut a little bit off of that and give it to you. And then they cut their 1/4 yard, wash it, and then tie it to the bolt. And you know, it's such a bummer that we can't have that more often in fabric stores, but I know that that's like extra special details, you know? So yeah, anyway, so I didn't get much. I really did not have time. They're not open they're open for 6 hours a day, like 10 to 4, and I kept missing them. I didn't get to see the owner, but she's still there. So yeah, that was kind of fun. It was definitely like a impulse buying because I wanted to buy something. When I worked there, she would give you, I think it was 40 cents credit to the store for every hour you worked. And that added up. And then you also got like a birthday thing, and you got a discount. So I felt like it was great. Oh, and you could do samples, sew samples for the store. It had to be displayed for 1 month, and then you got to take it home for free. So it was a really great place to work. I didn't get to work there very much, or work there for very long because, well, that's, you know, she told the local company that made stuff like my God, I'm failing in my words, but it was a water sportswear company, and she told them that I was working there and what I did, and they came and recruited me. and I left. So she wasn't very happy about that. But I had told her when I got hired, I said, my only thing I ask is that you just don't tell anybody what I do or what my career has been. And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And she totally did. So anyway, and I took the job because while I was trying to leave the fashion industry, because I was going to school to get an environmental engineering degree, I was starting over, I still wasn't like naive. I thought I might have to fall back on this career. And this company used CAD, so because that was pretty new. And so it was an opportunity to learn CAD. So that's why I took the job. And I met my husband. So, you know, there we go. Poached. Yeah. I don't know what that comment was in reference to, Jan, but she is a little intense. She definitely has opinions. I mean, you can tell, like, she cares about fabric and sewing a lot, right? So there's a bit of that. And like I said, they're only natural fibers. There was this one time, though, where the place I used to work for in Los Angeles, they contacted me, and they were getting rid of all the sample cuts. So you guys would love this. So I worked at this company that did tween wear for a time. They did denim and tops and just very American streetwear, sportswear for tweens, juniors. And when you meet with a fabric rep, at least back then, you could get a sample cut of something if you wanted to test it out. And they would send you like 3 yards, like 2 yards, 3 yards, something like that. It was always that amount, which was plenty for that market. And those pile up like you would not believe, because some of the designers are just like, yeah, I want to take a 2 yard cut of that and that and that. And, you know, I was a pattern drafter for them. I wasn't a designer. And so we had literal pallets full of these sample cuts, and they were all like polyester, lycra, knit, all this kind of fabrics that I didn't really wear, but whatever. And so they contacted me. They were like, hey, Saremy, do you know a fabric store like what would take this? And I asked her, I was like, you know, this is a really good deal. Like, it was dirt cheap. Like, they sold it to us for like $1 a piece or something crazy like that, you know? And I told her, I was like, you know, do you want this? And she was like, sure. I'm matching my fish. Don't judge me. Matching the fish. She did it. She took advantage of that. And the crazy ironic thing was that stuff flew off the shelves. We had so much of it, you guys, that it took us months to like process it and put it out. And it would sell instantly. And we were just always rolling it up, tying it like a remnant and putting it on the shelf. Dirt cheap, flew off the shelves. It was pretty funny. I could tell she was just like, all these betrayers of natural fibers. That was funny. And there were some kooky fabrics in there. You know, you always wanted to know, like, who bought that one, you know, with the crazy neon pink and fake fur on it, you know? So. All right. Perch. Okay, this is a pretty big piece. Well, is it really a big piece? What would you do with this? I can't even make matching underwear. That would be so funny. Would you like fries with that? There was hot dogs, fries, and cheeseburgers. I really wanted to get the hot dogs, but these, like I said, these were a little pricier. I did use my birthday gift certificate on my order, but it was really fun to just get like some really cute. I got something for me too. I don't remember what it was, but I did get something for me. A thong. Maybe I could make Loki a little sweater. Is that weirder? Okay. I do appreciate that this fabric, I could tell, was cut pretty good, like as far as the grain line goes. That edge is a little stretched, and it's probably from me pinning it while it was still a little damp. So we'll just kind of stay away from that top edge. I think I'm going to get a new cutting mat for this table as kind of a celebration. I'm going to do a video about my new sewing studio because I'm so happy about it. I love it so much. I'm worried like there's going to be a tragedy or something and I'm going to lose it. But I'm going to do a little video for it and show all the details of it. It'll be boring to most people, but some people will be into it. And maybe on the one on the tech stuff too. We'll see. But anyway, I think I want a new table, or I mean a new cutting mat. I would really love it if it were in a color, like a pale color. Something not white. I don't know why, maybe that wouldn't be good, honestly. I'm used to dealing with this as far as like lighting and colors go. So maybe I should just stick to what I know. Yeah, I am. And I think like initially I was kind of, I don't know if embarrassed was the word about it, but I was definitely feeling something about it. You know, the thing is, I've had a lot of sewing rooms. I've had sewing rooms since I was probably 20 years old. I remember my very first one. It was so amazing. It was a tiny little closet type of room. And I would put on AMC, which AMC back then was just an old movie channel. It was the first old movie channel. It was called American Movie Classics. That's what AMC stands for. And I would just listen to old movies and sew. It was amazing. And then, you know, as time went by and my spaces got more and more sort of professional and industrial, I have not had a cute sewing room for decades, you know, and I think I'm just going to center some fries like right here. Does this one look better? Maybe I'll do that. Do I think? Maybe I'll do this right here. Anyway, you know, my factory was really nice as far as like factories go because it was completely indoors. It wasn't an industrial space. It wasn't an office space. I had climate control. You know, it was pleasant to work in. It was clean. You know, we cleaned it every week. But it was still, you know, industrial shelving because you have to have so much of it to hold everything, and industrial equipment and tools and whatever, right? And I would always see people posting their like really cute sewing rooms, and I was just so jealous, you know. And this was really hard to make work, like everything fit in here, because I do have 35 years worth of stuff. But it came out so great, and I'm just so happy with it. And I'm just proud of it now. Like, I'm not going to be embarrassed about getting to have it. I'm really proud that I finally get to have something like this, so. And thankful. And gosh darn it, I'm 54 years old. Like, why am I gonna be embarrassed by this? I should be able to enjoy something I worked for. So, whatever. Yeah, exactly, Terry, yeah. Yeah, it's really hard not having room just for sewing, yeah. I think that the other thing, like if you're someone who doesn't have a dedicated space for sewing, I really feel you, because I have been plenty of places, like since when I first got my first sewing room, I didn't always have one. I will say the thing that I would hands down sacrifice to get first is a cutting table. Something where you're standing up and cutting, and you don't have to bend over or cut on the floor. Because I think especially when you're newer to sewing, just for anybody sewing, cutting is the, oh my gosh, cutting is the one thing I think pretty much everybody agrees on that they don't like at first. So making it a particularly like physical task that you don't enjoy and you're sore afterwards, like, gosh, you know, it really shows your dedication to sewing that you kept doing it if you don't have a dedicated cutting space. So pat yourself on the back for that, because I think that shows you're tenacious about that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even a kitchen table, like you're bent over, depending on your height. Kitchen tables aren't quite the right height sometimes. So it's almost like, do I kneel on the floor and pin the carpet by accident? Or, you know, do I use the table and bend over weirdly? So, yeah. I have been there many times. I understand it. And anytime I'm asked what my favorite tool is, I always say my cutting table, just to underscore that. Because having a standing height table just makes me really happy. It's the same like in a workshop, right? Like say you're a carpenter or whatever, you know. They're not cutting wood on the ground, right? So you shouldn't be either. And I think the other thing, like for me, is all the equipment for your sewing room can be expensive. And that's another reason why I've never really had like a cute sewing room, is that I just don't have the money to buy all this like dedicated sewing stuff. And I still don't have that. This is an industrial table for a workshop. All I bought in the cottage this time was the white shelving behind me, because I needed something less deep for the space in here. So yeah, everything else is basically, like my my camera stuff is on an old kitchen island. You'll see it eventually, that I have converted to a cart so that it is mobile now. But be clever, like I've done so many different types of tables. Like if you have an old door, or a door is cheaper for you than buying a table surface, and then you get 2 shelves and you can put the door on top of it. I did that for years. And my main table at the factory was always the industrial metal shelving, and then a piece of melamine on top, you know, like countertop. I had a 4x8 sheet of melamine on top. for one of them, and the other one had a piece of subfloor on it. And then on top of those, the real splurge was buying the cutting mat to fit the table. But I used to go to a plastic supplier in town that was so dodgy, my office mate would go for me. He would be like, "Don't, you stay in the car. I'm going to go get this for you." And he would buy me these 4x8 sheets of PVC, and I'd plop them on my table. I still have those, by the way. They're in the garage. They're just too big for my table now. So there's lots of ways to get around buying all the fancy stuff. I've never bought any, only dedicated sewing equipment I have I'm not even using, and it's a cabinet for a machine, so the machine can go up and down in the table. 100% recommend that if you can ever afford one of those. They're kind of pricey, but they're ergonomic, and I think ergonomics is really important when it comes to doing sewing. Sewing's very physical work already, so ergonomics are really important. I don't use it because it wiggles too much for the camera. You don't notice it when you're sewing, but if I record something on there, I can't use it. All my stuff has to be like boom on the ground for the camera stuff. And you still see jiggle, you know, because I don't have a camera person in here. Yeah, like the koalas, exactly. I think mine's a different brand, but exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, reusing, refining things. I have, and I've been like just holding on to all of my stuff as things shifted around. Like, oh, you know, my daughter moved out. Maybe she'll need this table, or maybe my next office it'll work better. Because now I'm settled in here, I'm going to get rid of all the weird things that are left. My current office mate was in Paradise. He was. I was a whole medical office there, so there were all these cabinets being ripped out. There are places getting rid of that stuff. Or Habitat for Humanity. If you ever have a Habitat for Humanity in your area, they usually have a restore, which is like a store that sells all the stuff to make homes. And it's like, maybe it's a window someone removed from a house that didn't work for them, like they bought it and it doesn't fit or something, or gently used things, or kitchen cabinets. Those restore places are really cool. They're also a great place to donate things. So, all right, so we have 4 pairs. We're gonna sew this pair and this pair today. These feel thicker. This I'll save for the black. Oh, your restore clothes, that's a bummer. I think the pandemic was not kind to the restores. Okay, what do we need over here? I think that's all I need. I just need these 2 things. We got everything. Let's check our notches are cut. I don't know why I care about the notches. I was thinking about the waistband because I did find, you know, the notches for the waistband are important. We actually can do the center up here though. Let's do that. I'm going to do the center at the top of this piece here and of the seat, because that'll start me off right when I go to do the elastic, and then I can find the sides easier if I've already got half of it done. That's awesome, Derek. Congratulations. That's great. Yeah, and I think if you have an IKEA, they have a lot of really good solutions. Look at furniture as, it doesn't have to stay in that state. Like, you might find a really great kitchen table at a Goodwill or something that's really sturdy, and you can get, just like look at the way the legs are, because you can get cups to put under the legs that raise up. They're called risers. They'll raise your table up. And you can also just put another surface on top of that. Like, say the table is only 4x4 and you want a 4x8, then you can just screw another table surface on top of that. If it's not a very valuable table, why not? You know, it'll get a lot of really great use for years to come. And it might have cool looking legs, and you can just paint the whole thing one color and it'll look fine if you really aesthetically need that. But look at everything as potential. And also don't forget, like, having a table you can store things under. That right there might give you a sewing room, right? If you have room for a table, but you can't have everything set up all the time, if you can put a machine underneath there, your fabric stash, some of your notions, and you just pull that out when you need it, you might have like a room in the making, right? Just start carving more and more space out for you. All right, I'm going to move the camera around, and I've got a little, I guess the microphone's not working I didn't put the microphone on that scene. So I'm gonna do this so that you you don't get nauseous while I'm moving things around. We're back. Okay. It won't be a long break. Okay, I just need to, these tables right here, I discovered through my office mate. I think Shem has these. They're called Husky tables. Very affordable. You have to get them at Home Depot. And it raises and lowers with a little crank. So I have mine standing up. Mine has 2 drawers in it. And I will say, let's see if I can show you my drawers. This is very, very satisfying. However, if you are my height or shorter, I'm about 5'4", you're gonna find it really hard to get your legs under them when you're sitting at them. I bought mine assembled, Amy. They cost the same. Just buy the floor models. So yeah, and I think they're very affordable. It is, goodness, I actually don't know the size of this, but I can fit 3 machines across this. Right now I have 2. 2 is great. Yeah, I just bought the assembled one and they were like, oh yeah, you can buy that. They had a bunch. So that worked for me. I was all about that. Let's see, I think I can get this out further. And I'm gonna lower this, make it look more stable. And raise this up. Okay. It's called a Husky. Mine's white, but you can get them in black or white. And you can get them with or without the drawers. You can also get them with the drawers and then take the drawers off, but you have to take off both. So I'm kind of suffering through the drawers because they're just so handy to have right here. And I just stand and sew at these. I don't recommend standing and sewing for everybody. It is definitely, I feel it the next day. You're just gonna have to look at me through my thread today, I think. Yeah, this is from Home Depot. These are from, I'll link this in the description later too. I'll show you. Yeah. Yeah, hardware stores are great for sewing supplies. That's where I would get the 4x8 sheet of melamine, which is probably not called that anymore. It's a basically laminated plywood. And what I recommend with that when you're looking at table surfaces is try and finish the perimeter edge of that, because that edge really scratches my clothes up. Same with the subfloor. I had a neighbor help me pick that one up once, and then he was like, this edge is too rough for you, I'm gonna sand it. And he sanded it, which was really nice of him. But I have to admit, they're still really rough on your clothes. So what I do is, if I were good, I would wear an apron or a smock or something. But what I do usually is I put a piece of packing tape across the front of all my tables. So I really like that right there, the table, the cutting table, is a maple, a nice top. I splurged for the nice top for that one because it was in a spot where it was more visible in my factory. And we just wanted it to look nice for photos and stuff sometimes. So, but the other, I got one of those that's larger. It's in the garage still, and it's just a particle board top. It's also going like this, bowing in the middle. I have packing tape across the front of that. So, yeah, knees would be a problem if you're taller, if you're shorter. Yeah, the edge band, your packing tape, exactly. All right, so the first thing is I need to just serge this interior edge. So I just put this thread on here. I thought I was so clever putting all my thread on. So we're just gonna do all that at once because I don't want white. Let me get some thread. I've got some dark gray. This is great. I get to actually showcase my Juki serger and cover stitch, which I really love. And I'm an affiliate for Quality Sewing, so I'll put a link in the description to these machines if you're interested. I don't talk about that very much, and I probably will try more just because I think I can at least talk about the machines I know. I would never recommend a machine I've never used. I'm always a fan of trying the machine out first. I don't have a really, like, whatever you call it, like super fancy serger or cover stitch. I have pretty middle of the road, maybe even like at the maybe bottom of the middle of the road serger and top of the middle of the road cover stitch, if we can liken it that way. My goals are probably different than yours sometimes, you know. So yeah. All right. Yeah, that was awesome, Tiffany. Thanks for doing that. That was cool. That was so fun. Like, that happened so quick because you were like, nah, I'm not going to get a new machine. Then you were like, I bought a new machine. Are you liking your machine? What have you learned about it? What do you like? What don't you like? And what did you get? Tell us all the juicy details. You got a Juki cover. Oh, you got a Juki cover stitch? That's not Dookie. Yeah, I'm gonna also show you guys my buttonholer because now it's set up full time on my home Juki. So I have like my own little buttonholer. HZL F300, and that has like, that doesn't just do straight stitch, right? That does zigzag, all kinds of things. Is my serger too loud? Just tell me. Put this here, and we're going to lengthen the stitch a little bit. It's computer neat. It's much more stable than your old Genome, and it does a nice buttonhole, so getting 2 inches of throat. Oh, that's a lot. Wow. It's not too loud? Okay, cool, thanks. This is one of the things I love about my serger. I can just lift this up. I don't know what that's called, but it is a something. I don't know. Yeah, it's a regular sewing machine that she got. I've been teaching myself to stand on my right leg when I sew and use my left on the pedal, but it does mean I'm not as adept. Elna cover stitch in January. I haven't tried it yet. You haven't dared try it yet. I hear that a lot, and I get it. I have either the misfortune or fortune of being one of those people that when I'm dreading something, I end up being like just running straight at it because I can't stand the feeling of dread. I don't like that. Like if you're like, there might be a scary killer in that room with a pumpkin head and he's using a whisk to kill you, maybe the suspense would just kill me. I'd be like, well, let's find out. Don't stand with me in a scary movie. I'm gonna be the first to go for sure. The looming, yeah, looming doom, not a fan. Is this the back side? No. Trying to serge the right side up. I don't feel like I did enough of these. Did I just do 8 of these? Yeah, I've told you guys that. If you leave me in the, you know those videos of those kids where they leave like one Oreo? And they say, they leave them in a room with one Oreo, a cookie. They say, if you wait 5 minutes, you can have 2. I could wait. That's something I could wait for. I'm patient. If you said something like, behind that door over there, there's a banana split. Maybe. There also could be a ferocious dog. 100% opening that door. I don't know what that's about. I'm patient. But I can't stand suspense. Oh yeah, like the unboxing. Oh yeah. And I'm also really terrible with keeping a secret when I have a surprise for somebody. I can keep a secret as far as like personal things, right? But if I have just finished you the most fantastic pair of underwear, do you think I'm going to wait till your birthday at the end of the month to give them to you? Probably not. Secret surprise, yeah. Okay, did we get all the layers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we did, okay. Sweet. Let's position these in pairs. How are these both? Oh, okay, I see, okay. Let's position these in pairs. We only need 1 or 2 pairs, actually. Okay, and these we'll set aside for the others. And now we're going to put this back. I've already got my cover stitch. I don't think I've ever used woolly nylon on camera because I honestly just haven't really cared a lot about it. And it kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies, you know? Do you guys know what that is? The woolly nylon thread? Let me see if I can show you. I have a spool of it right here. this stuff. So do you see how the thread is very puffy? This is very fuzzy too. You see all the fuzz coming off of it? It's shinier. So it's kind of softer for certain seams because it's like fluffier and it kind of fills in all the cracks and it's not as hard as, oh shoot, I forgot to tie off my thread. Just a regular cotton or poly thread. It is synthetic, very synthetic, and it catches on things and it kind of gives me the heebie-jeebies. But I'm going to use it for this because of because it's underwear. And I tried it last night and he didn't say anything about it, so I figure it's fine. And I figure you guys have had questions about it. I have like 6 spools of it, 3 colors, 2 of each color. Really? That's funny. I used to have this friend that was so clever when like it was her birthday and like say there was a little get together at her house or whatever. She would greet you at the door, you know, welcome you in. And if you had a gift for her, she would open it right then. And I loved this because one of my biggest not fears, but just dreads in life is when you are at a party and everyone bought you gifts and you have to sit there and open all your gifts in front of everybody. I hate that. And the first time she did that, I thought, oh, we're opening the gift now. Which, you know, you better like what you got your friend, right? Because you are about to be face to face with them opening it and it's just you two. But at the same time, it takes all the pressure off that person to like perform elation over everything they got, you know what I mean? So, and it was done. And I think it's awkward for everybody to sit there and watch someone open all their gifts, honestly. Maybe it's just me. Oh, that's so cute, Terry. Nancy, I have that problem too when the book is getting a little too stressful or I'm mad at it. Like it's feeling manipulative. But you know what else? If you read the very last paragraph of any book, you are most likely, it doesn't spoil anything. It's kind of funny. All right, we're set. Let's start sewing some panties. I'm using a 4-thread stitch. I'm gonna decrease this tension on that one right there. So my 4-thread has a seam, so I can use it as the only thing. It's not just an overcast, it's actually the seam as well. I made some gum, sorry. But I did finally go to the ear, nose, and throat doctor. Got a plan in place, so. All right. That a better view? This thing is so stiff, which is good, but. Like, can you see that good enough? Is that okay? But do you want it better? Like closer? All right. First thing we're going to do, oh, see, this is one thing where I'm going to do this a little differently than I would if you weren't watching because I don't want to have to be on the single needle machine over there without you. But I would take this little sling here And I would just straight stitch it on. So I'm putting this wrong sides together, right? And what you need is this to be tacked to this on both sides. So you put the wider at the bottom and they overlap. I'm gonna overlock it because I don't want to leave you out with the machine. So I'm gonna do all 3 of these layers at the bottom here. My regret about this is that my serger stitch is really wide. It's already the full seam allowance width. So I have to be really careful now when I sew these together that they don't show. Maybe I could try, maybe I'll just try one without tacking it. We could try that. See how that goes. That might be entertaining. I'm gonna do the tops then. But I would just tack this with your straight stitch machine. It'll be fine. It doesn't matter that it's not stretch. That's what I did on the others. Then that way you don't have to have any pins or anything like that, right? So we'll try this. And we'll leave it this side up. That way we can see we're getting all the layers and we'll be fine. All right. So we're putting these together like this. So this is the side piece. This is the inseam. That's the waist. And then we're putting this wider part at the bottom. This goes at the top. And we want to catch all 3 layers. If you can slightly stretch your fabric if you want, especially if you're not using a really stretchy stitch. This is going fine. While none of these curves line up, they are the same length. It'll be fine. Just hold them. I like to hold them separately so I can match them as I go. And I'm now thankful I did give myself those notches. There we go. Last one, last little leg here. I'm gonna pull this out, make sure I don't catch it. And then I cut my tail and then I sort of cinch it up a little bit. I don't know why. All right, and so there we go. We have one seam. Then we'll do our other one. We're gonna have to go from the bottom up on this one because I want the gusset area right side up. All right, you can see we're not going to catch this. That's good. One of my tips that I didn't mention earlier when you're sewing knits is to cut them right before you're going to sew so they don't curl. The longer they sit, they will get curly. And so if you're one of those people that you're like, okay, I need to batch cut and then I won't sew for a few days or a few weeks, try and set some things down on the edges that'll curl, which is usually the cross grain. So like all the hems, waists, things like that. If you have long, narrow things like waist bands or leg bands, arm bands, neck bands, I lay them flat and I put them under a ruler. It kind of helps keep them not from curling. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, no worries. We just started sewing. I was cutting them out. So if you're only here for the sewing, then you're right on time. Michelle, are you the one that was on the Stash Dash leaderboard? Are you the Michelle? Just want to make sure. I gotta give you your badge, if so. If you don't like sewing curves like this, I think it's completely fine if you want to baste them together with a single needle machine. Just do a really long stitch. And if you do it inside the seam allowance, then you can just cover it up with your serger or your zigzag. I think if you're zigzagging though, you don't really need to baste it together. But on the serger, if you don't want to use pins, even if you just baste it here and there, you know, like where the notches are, you know, that'll work. Okay, I'm doing my last side seam, and then we have the end seam. See how fast these go together? They're faster to sew than cut. I still have to put the waistband on, obviously, and the hems. But I didn't say that, Stuart. These are really labor intensive. They cost way more to sew than to buy. Buying is way better. Oh, cool, Michelle. Thank you. Thanks for confirming that. I'll get you your badge today. Our winner didn't get her badge either. I feel so bad. I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't that save? I must have clicked away too quickly. All right, now we're going to do the inseam. So this is what they're looking like right now. We have, that's that back, right, and the little back legs. And then you can see it goes to this inseam here. It all comes together. Let's do it from this side so we can make sure we enclose that serging stitch. Having the center marked would have been nice. Making sure there's no wrinkles under there. Okay. We got shorts. There. Yes, you do, Julie. Don't even. All right, so this just needs a waistband and hems. Before I do the hems, I'll make sure, like things like this where I didn't get it perfectly lined up there, I will trim like this and just make sure. If I wasn't on camera, I would take this to the table and use my rotary knife. I feel like I'm a little more accurate than using these tiny little scissors. But these scissors are really nice and sharp too. So here's another one. And I also like to cheat nowadays and pre-iron my hems. If I can turn my iron on. Okay, so this one needs elastic. Now we'll do this one. This is going a little too quickly. All right, so we will do this first. I don't know which one to put on top of which, so. Like, left over right or right over left. I don't know. The wildlife activity at our house has been like so much lately. It's been pretty cool. Oh, there's no gap. No, he doesn't like that style. Guys are just as particular about their undershorts as we are about ours. And we have fewer moving parts. Yeah, exactly. It holds things. Support. All the guys in the chat are like, it's a hammock. Exactly. Oh wait, did I twist that? No, okay, good. I dare you to Google it, Julie. On your husband's computer. Granny panties are the best. They should be called best panties, not granny. My favorite fabric for underwear though is like probably the least practical one, and it's always the like rayon knits or tencel knits, bamboo, all those like really slinky ones. They're just nice and cool and comfortable, you know, super stretchy. I don't even feel them on, but they're not gonna like smooth out any lumps and bumps, you know. Oh, that's a bummer, Christina. Best panties, exactly. We should just call them perfect panties. There we go. But people hate that word. The word doesn't bother me. Panties, you know. Okay. I was watching a show while I was sewing that one sample last night, and I was actually kind of like into it. And I almost told myself, like, just turn that off. You're distracted right now, and it's almost dinner time, and you kind of want to be done, and you also don't want to make a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake. I sewed this center section on upside down. I had already sewn a pair, by the way. I've sewn this pattern like 10 times now, but it's been a few years, right? And I sewed this whole little thing upside down to the shorts. I was like, there's something wrong with this pair. So it's over there in the naughty pile. Because I sewed almost all of it all the way, and I was like, yeah, this isn't working. And that's when I turned off the movie. I was like, yeah. We just need to turn that. We need to finish. We need to get ready. And I was just trying to sew it up. I was like, I'll just sew this other pair up really quick while my machine is threaded with blue, because I want to switch it over to white for tomorrow. It's really rare that I sew what we're making before the stream. Like usually I'm like learning with you. Oh no, Michelle. Okay. This is a directional print. It helps a lot. He just has to have a onesie. You needed a dirndl, right? At least you can just maybe cut the waistband off, just cut it, you know, and then re-sew it on, unless you want that elastic back, but it'll probably never be the same, you know? All right, Tiffany, see you later. Oops, someone's gonna take her number 3 spot. Oh, I told you. So yesterday, for those of you that don't know, was our monthly pattern review show that we have in the guild. It's just an event where everyone pins all the patterns that have come out, like new release patterns that have come out since last month. And then we chat about them. I asked people to... I released 2 new videos this week on how to sew a waistband, 2 different styles. And I asked you guys to watch one and comment, because for some reason, because I released them at the exact same second, YouTube's only putting one of them forward and the other one has like 1/3 the views. But you guys watched, I told you guys yesterday, and I appreciate you guys putting all the comments on it and stuff. That'll help a lot. But it was kind of funny because I'm like, this is the one that should be doing better. You just never know how to deal with how YouTube looks at it. But I reference each video to the other one. Like, if you're looking for this kind, you want this video, not this video. So I wanted them both to launch at the same time so that the links were live for both, you know. It was clickable. Ah, thanks, Jan. Oh, thanks, Terry. Yep, there's the guild. Join the guild. It's been really fun in there. Like everyone posting all their projects. Has been really cool to see. I'm pushing the seam allowances toward the body. I'm not actually... I think that would be the nicer way because it'd be flatter. So that's why I pushed that one that way, and I'm pushing this one away from center. All right, there's 2. So now we're going to cover stitch. Oh, really, Jan? That's awesome. Perfect timing. I've been meaning to do that for years, and we even had someone in the guild sewing it, sewing a waistband recently, and I just felt bad that I couldn't go, here you go, here's a video, you know. So I had another one planned for that last week, and I thought, no, I'll just do the waistband one. It was perfect timing to be able to just switch up, and that's a very straightforward video to make. But I didn't have any fabric, so it made me use my fabric, and I had to cut and sew like 2 pairs of pants out. All right. We could just move this down. Ooh. There we go. Ooh, what was that? Oh shoot, I just knocked a clamp off. Sorry guys, that was really loud. I'm gonna go all the way over to the iron right now. Sorry about that loud noise. Oh, she does? Oh, that's great. I didn't know Sonia did sewing tutorials. I think of her content is, or not content, I'm sorry. Her patterns are so great for beginners. I didn't realize she had more advanced sewing techniques. That's awesome. She's great. All right, so we're just gonna iron up the hem. You don't have to do that if you don't like to for your cover stitch, but lately I've just been enjoying how much easier it makes it. So yeah, I'm trying to decide which way I want my seams to press. I think this one along the inseam will press toward the back, and this side one, same thing maybe. So I'll press these two together. So I'm gonna use like a 3/4 inch hem. Unless Michael watches today, I've kept the fabric choices a secret, which I think is fun. I know this kind of wants to press toward the side. So I worked one place, kind of like my very first sort of official jobs, but they were super small company. Like it was just a mom and pop. It was a mom and pop, but it was like a husband and wife that were doing everything, and it was not the greatest experience, but it was, you know, whatever. I learned a lot. Anyway, I learned a lot of who not to work for. Sometimes that's more valuable. Anyway, what I was going to say is there was a lot of discussion there about which way to press seams in knits, because it's not like, you know, we had the internet to ask that or whatever, or, you know, all machines are different, but you will notice that when you sew a seam on your serger, the serger will want to press, see like this one, it wants to push this way. Can you see? Maybe I should zoom in a little more. But your serger will usually want to push one way more than the other if it's only 2 layers of fabric. If like one piece is more layers like this one here, it's probably going to press away. And so there was a lot of discussion about that because their particular serger, it wanted to press the seam toward the way that exposed the wrong side of the seam. And so like I think of this side of the seam being the right side. Can you see that even? And this is the wrong side. So theirs like to go like this, but they really wanted this side to show. All sergers are kind of different in how it pushes things because of probably how it's being sewn together or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the official word is on that, but after working there, I've noticed it all these years because my last serger also wanted to press toward the exposing the wrong side of wrong. It's not like there's a right or wrong side, but one side to me looks nicer. So it's kind of funny that sometimes I will sew my knits together so that the side I want to show is facing up on the seam, and that way it's really easy for me when I go to press seams down at like the hem or whatever. I don't have to keep track of where I'm at. I just know, well, that's the side I like to press, and I sewed it intentionally, and it makes it a lot easier. It saves me time later on, but it is a little fiddly. You know what I mean? Aw, your cover stitch is sitting there all lonely. Play with me, play with me. Yeah, it's Caravan fabric, Michelle. Yes, of course you're going to appreciate that. I got this at knitfabric.com. Very affordable. Their quality of their knit fabric is really nice. And they sell in half yards, which I really appreciate. So I could just get enough for one. You know, I don't know. You better be careful. Derek's cover stitch might come out of the closet, find your cover stitch, and they may just go off, run away together. You're on the same continent. You better be careful. All right, so this one I sewed second, right? So we haven't really trimmed up these uneven edges. Is this the one I just trimmed? I think it was. Maybe after my cover stitch today, you'll feel less nervous. I feel like last year though, during Let's Make May, like Me Made May and I did my little Let's Make May thing, I had surgery week and ooh, my machines were not having me. Like I had so much bad luck on camera that it just made it look like I didn't know what I was doing. Clearly I didn't that day, you know, good. But they're gonna go off and have baby cover stitches, then you'll have more to use, more to learn how. I picked my cover stitch because it goes through changing thicknesses nicely. I definitely gave up a big thing getting this one that I didn't realize I was giving up because I didn't know that was a feature of my last one, and that's the locking stitch. And I don't know, is there any people that use the woolly nylon regularly in the chat? Because what I've been finding is that woolly nylon, or I always call it puff thread, but the woolly nylon, it doesn't let me lock the stitch at the end of the seam as easy. It keeps like you leaving a live chain. Knit binding on a woven tank. Why are you putting knit binding on a woven tank? First of all, I mean, it's okay, but it's not a knit, so I don't know if you want it to draw it in. Yeah, I think a lot of cover stitches do that, Julie. They're just kind of sensitive about the thicknesses. And we may see it today, I don't know. Hopefully not. Okay. Let me pull you guys this way. This clamp was sitting on that shelf. Sorry, that was a loud noise too. That works, huh? Or do you want it more straight on? It's straight on for me. The machine is, but not the camera. All right, we'll start with our hems since they're easier. And I usually start on the back, right in front of a seam. So like right here, this is the inseam right here. There's the juncture of the front panel. There's the inseam. I'm gonna start like right here on the back leg. I like to kind of get, you know, it going before I'm jumping over the humps. Does twin needle stretch? Like that's what I don't understand about people using twin needle instead of a cover stitch. So right now I just looked at the width here and I lined it up to my left needle, and there's a groove on my machine right here. So I know that if I line up my fold edge to this, I'll stay on. Terry, you would love this machine. I see you wearing knit t-shirts too, Terry. Not to call you out or anything. Twin needle stretches, really? Because it's a lock stitch. How does that work? I know what's wrong here. I need to turn these inside out. There we go. Okay, now where am I at? This is the back. Okay, right here. I still have it right side up, but I like to sew inside the circle. All right. The foot pedal is not meant for left-footed people. Just saying. Oh, okay, Amy. Yeah, you could twin needle it or just zigzag it. Oh, I'm really far in there. Oops. On some fabrics, I will take my Hera marker and draw a line, like where this raw edge is, I'll draw a line on the right side when I know it'll show. I knew it wouldn't this time though, so I didn't. But that really helps because then I can just keep the needle on that Hera marker line, which is just like a dent in the fabric. Yeah, the cover stitch does work great on wovens too. And for this little edge here, I will probably trim that down. Once you use this a lot, you get the hang of it and you won't have to do this. You'll get it better. I'm actually glad that one happened there because my seam was starting to come undone there and I was a little worried about it. Usually it's going to look like this right here, right? But apparently I didn't iron this very straight because I sewed it straight for the most part. Let's just get rid of it a little bit. No one will know. All right, and then our other one is right here. We will not say anything out loud. There we go. Okay, where are we at here? This is the back leg. This is the side. That's the inseam. Okay. You might be able to find a used one. See what you think of having it first. When I get to the beginning, when I get close to the beginning, I trim all the threads from the starting stuff off. Top and bottom. That way they're not going to be a problem. The bobbin is a zigzag, but it's not the top is not a zigzag. So it's still a lock stitch. That's the big difference between the stretch thing, because with when you have a bobbin thread and you have a top thread, you're basically locking those two together, right? Even if the bottom is a zigzag, you're still locking it in. It's a separate thread, whereas this is a continuous thread. Yeah, this one sounds really nice. I totally agree with you. I love the way this one sounds. All right, so now I'm going to do the waistband on this one. We'll just finish this pair completely. I'm not going to do tags, you know, just because of the comfort issue. I mean, I hope he knows what the front and the back is. All right, so then I make sure that all my junctures are smooth because we're not hemming this time. We're actually going to flat seam it. And we need also the quarters. So I have my center front and I have my center back. Am I off camera a lot? Just tell me if I'm off camera. I'm really sorry about that. So now I'm going to line up my centers to one another, find the side here. So I have my quarters, like 4 sections, right? This seam is pressed this way, so we're going to try and keep it that way. Let me get my pin cushion. This one goes out. And this one hopefully goes the same way this one does, like this. Bienvenidos. Hablo inglés solamente. This one is the 1500 MCS. Okay, so the way I sewed my elastic into a circle, I just overlap them like this, right? And then I put a straight stitch here. Can you see that? And a straight stitch here. And I left this so I could show you. Then I'm just going to trim this really close. Get rid of all these threads. I do it this way because this is really strong. And it's low profile, it's flat, it's less bulky. If you want to do this right sides together, you can do that. And then if you do right sides together, I open the seam and then I stitch down the seam allowance on the edge. I don't find that to be as strong because, and you'll see when you open the seam, you're gonna see your stitches most likely. Yeah, Juki, sorry. Yeah, Juki. You can see right here. This says MCS 1500. This right here is the plate that goes with the binding attachment from Erica Siskren. I'm embarrassed to say all my machines are Jukis except for my home machine, which is a Bernina. I sound like I'm like a Juki stan, but you know. All right, so now we're going to mark our elastic in 4 places as well. I'm just going to use some chalk. Now, if you mark down the center of this, like if you go off to one of the edges, it might be a little confusing, but I'm just going to do a center. And then I just have to kind of awkwardly fold this first one. And then I put those one on top of the other to find my quarters. I try to make sure I mark them all on the same side of the elastic. Sometimes I'll mess up and I'll do like the 2 of them on one side, 2 on the other, and that ends up being a problem. When you're going to sew it, you're like, whoa, where's my marking? All right, and so now I can maybe put this right here. And I'm just going to pin this in the 4 spots. And we're going to lay this like this so that we're going to lay it right on top. The elastic's on top of the outer fabric like that. I think this one looks nicer, so we'll put this one on like this. Oh, no. We're just going to make it look nicer then. It'll look nicer once the chalk is washed away. You don't have to use pins if you don't want to. Some people will find they have to stretch the elastic, and some people will find they have to stretch the shorts. You know what I mean, jelly beans? Like, depends on the waist circumference of the person. or how they like it to fit, or the elastic type. Because remember how I told you this is different elastic than last time? So the original one I used was braided elastic, and I feel like that one was cut 28 inches and this one's cut 32. And it's just because of the elastic type is much firmer. So if you're switching between elastic types between your shorts, I would just make sure you check them all on the person, make sure they're how they fit. And then also know that some of them you might be stretching onto the garment. Sometimes you might be stretching the garment onto it. Have you seen the way you use the bias binding to connect the elastic? Have you, have I shown the way you use bias binding? Wait, have you seen the way you use bias binding to connect the elastic? Huh? Me? All right, so here we have it. I'm just overlapping a little bit, like 1/4 inch. And I'm going to adjust it as I go. I'm not going to leave it this way. So I'm going to take this out right now, and we're going to slide this in here. I should probably take this plate off because it's making me mess up a little bit there, but it's okay. It'll be okay once we start sewing. And I'm just going to keep the needles on the elastic. I'm going to hold both of these separate, and I can kind of like look straight this way, and I can see how much is overlapped. Have you seen the way, oh, that other people use bias binding to connect the elastic? Maybe? You mean like fold over? Oops, okay, here we go. All right, so now I'm just kind of looking to see if I need to stretch. And I don't have to stretch a whole lot. I'm gonna stretch a little bit. Just make sure that when you're stretching, anytime you're sewing with your serger or your cover stitch, you stop sewing, you stretch, you sew, you let go, adjust, stretch, then sew. Don't start stretching after you started sewing because you can bend your needles. All right. And I just have this here because I want to make sure the seam allowance got pressed that way. That's all it's there for. There's no knife on a cover stitch. You're not as worried about cutting a pin with your knife on a cover stitch, but obviously you don't want to sew over a pin on a cover stitch. It's not really meant for that. Oh, maybe send me a video. Let's see if I've seen that. It sounds kind of familiar, but I feel like I can picture so many different ways to do this. I might not be on the same page as you. This is flat, and this is elastic. And see how it looks on the other side? And again, you can tell like I have the shorts inside out so that there's only one layer on the bed of the machine, right? The whole short is above. Because if this was right side out, this would be folded, kind of bunched up under right here, and it's kind of dangerous. You might catch it with your machine. Yeah, I want to see that. Sounds fun. Whatever it is. All right, we're at the beginning, so I'm going to trim off all my little threads here. What was that? See, this is why I don't like this stuff. It's like spider web. And I love spiders, do not like spider webs. Another good argument for not cutting your knits till right before you sew, because as you stretch, you'll see how this little edge, this is cross cut, right? It's gonna wanna curl, see that? We don't like that, right? So we've got this elastic to hold it down. We make sure that it's flattening out as we go. This is a lot faster than I'm making it look usually, because I'm not gabbing. Yeah, it sticks to every little thing you didn't know was dry on your body. So I grab this pretty firmly when I pull, because I've been finding that the puff thread isn't locking as well. And then I later will go to my straight stitch machine and just sew over the ends of this, just to like make sure, right? Let's see if I pull on this. See, look, it's a chain stitch. It's gonna come undone. So it isn't locking when I do the little stitch thingy. Oh, it looks like I missed. Oh, I did miss that. That's funny. So I'll fix that too. I have a tiny little bit right here. See that? I'll show you the whole thing. Well, maybe they're all out of town for 4th of July weekend. Understandably, when you get to these areas where there's thicker things, you might find that it gets a little bit off. But this stayed up in the waistband this time. Remember, I straightened off that little gusset, and so that worked really good. I'm really glad that worked. Let's just trim this off a little bit. Okay. And this one right here. I always find these little things right here. I like to clean these up. If I was doing this, you know, for a few days in a row and practicing, I think you can minimize that with practice and everything. Okay, first pair done. Very cute. These look like underwear. I don't think I could see this fabric now and not see it as underwear. But it's cute fabric. All right, let's do our, you want fries with that? We'll do the hems first. Let's see if I can do better this time. Let's check it. Let's check the width that I pressed this, because I don't think I really did a good job checking. I feel like that's pretty even. So line up the needle with this. Yeah, if I go to this fold, I should be okay. You know? Michael went to our new farmer's market today. New to us. I'm excited. I hope he brings home a flat of peaches. We have some amazing peach orchards here. Or nectarines. I'll stand that too. I visited my friend's bakery. She's a whole grain baker in, when we walked in, she wasn't in there, and we were like, hello, and it smelled so good in there. And she was getting ready. Farmer's market was, it was today. So, you know, she's doing all her prep on Wednesday, then she bakes or does, I don't know what she does, but by Saturday she has all her bread. It's baked on Saturday, I think. And it smelled so good in there, and because she was dehydrating strawberries for one of the things, because she does like little treats too, but all whole grain. She's an amazing baker. It was really fun. Okay, I did okay. I'm talking and not paying attention, so I really hate it when I have this little edge. I think it's just a point of pride, you know. I can do better. when I use the hair marker, it works such a great charm. Like maybe we could do it on this one because this is got some color to it. Let's try it. I find if I hear a marker from the right side, it shows up better, right? So there I can see it. You can see that little dent I made. But it's easier to see on this side where you're going. So let's just try and see if it shows up. Oh my gosh, this is so... Stop it, Julie. I might have to get Terry to ban you, time you out. I'll tell Stuart on you. I'll tell Stuart that it's so easy to make underwear. Only good wives make underwear. Two can play that game. Yeah, it's showing up. All right, so let's do this one now. What are you guys all working on? You're so quiet. I know I'm just background noise. I'm your productivity thing. All right, so now I can just run my needle along the hair marker line. It's way easier. Let's see if this one comes out much nicer. It just doesn't always show up on some fabrics. They don't take the dent very well. Knits actually take a hair marker dent pretty nicely. I can tell that I did not iron this in a very parallel way. No? Laundry's productive, Amy. Thank you, Terry. This is why you're my #1 fan. Oh, that's one of my dad's favorite shows, The Rifleman. He's got some memorabilia from it and everything. Okay. Yeah, look at that. See? Hair marker for the win. Look at that. Perfect. So do as I say, not as I usually do. All right, we just have one waistband left. So now let's just check it over and make sure this edge is ready. I get rid of all these little threads. Make sure it's nice and the joins are even. Oops, I just trimmed a little more than I want. This has a longer blade. I'm surprised he's even cut anymore, honestly. Really, Amy? That's awesome. When you're halfway through books, jeans, shorts, so I'll be referring to the new waist movie. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Julie, are you camping right now? All right. Okay, we're going to do our same, figure out the 4/4. You're in your new caravan. That's awesome. You're making bias tape from an old sheet. Oh, that's a lot of bias tape. Wait, I don't know why I just did that. We're folding it toward the centers. Finding the sides. You're just 45 minutes from Julie? That's what I thought that's what we were talking about with Malcolm. Like, you know, the make your, I don't know, he was on about the RVs here in the United States. There are some really cool, like, outdoor companies that will have a, well, not that they're cool. They may be, I don't know. They have like a cool mobile repair vehicle. They'll bring it to shows. I would love that job. I would actually cheat on you guys and take that job if I got offered. I would love to go to shows and do like mobile repairs. That would be 100% something I would love. I love repairs. I don't want an alteration shop, but I wouldn't mind repairs because I like the variety. I like the troubleshooting. I like the challenge. I love all of it. But I wouldn't want an alteration shop because people are nasty sometimes with their stuff and not nice and want you to do things that are crazy and you, I don't know. Ugh. All right, should we try this without pins this time? I think this is a mistake, so let's try it. Yeah, exactly, Amy, exactly. You might be thinking of Susan. Susan's in the US. All right, when's our first one? Is right here. How's the camera work? So we're gonna line up this first one here. I'm gonna check this seam. It needs to point away from me. Oh, see, that's coming undone a little bit. I don't like that. All right, next one, right here, center. This seam goes away. I don't usually have my seams pulling out a little bit, but they are today because I haven't been good about locking them as I finish. Oops, I just switched legs. I don't want to switch legs. All right, there's another one right here. Oops, I'm a little bit off. Can we catch up without distorting it? All right, we're on our last section, so I'm gonna trim all my threads. And so I still need to go back and sort of go over these ends when I'm done, because I'm finding that the woolly nylon's not locking the stitch, like when I do the little step to lock the stitch. But yeah, see, this is kind of at an angle here, so this one actually won't pull apart because it's going the wrong direction. It only pulls apart going that way, not that way, the chain stitch. Let's see if I can get that better on there. That's good. I got that back on track there. All right, we did both, yeah. Sweet. So you can kind of see that this waistband was a tiny bit larger than the thing it was sewing to. So that's what I mean by sometimes you're going to be stretching this, sometimes you're going to be stretching that, depending on your elastic choice. They turned out really cute. I'm happy with these. I don't like my new shadows that I have. Hi, Terry. Oh, you're making bloomers for girls to join. Nice, that's funny. That is great. All right, guys. Well, we're off with a bang for Menswear Sewing Month. What do I have to tell you? I don't think I have a video coming out this week. Oh yeah, I do. There's Quick Fit. There's Quick Fit on Tuesday, and I'll be doing a men's fitting issue for that. And then the following week is jeans sewing. Following week after that is another Quick Fit. I have 2 new videos out, plus I did another one for menswear sewing. It can be women's as well. But I've been trying to do a lot of tutorials that are helpful in a lot of garments you sew for men. So there was a flat felled armhole and underarm recently, and then 2 waistband videos last week, one with a Hong Kong finish or binding finish or just clean finish. So the other uploaded tutorial videos that'll come out eventually are, what are they? Terry might remind me. I think one of them is sewing a collar stand a different way, where you clean finish under the collar folding over. So I've never done a video on that. I want to redo my waistband elastic one, and then there was another one that's more menswear sewing-ish, but I can't think of what it is. Sorry. Oh well. Maybe I've already done it, because I've been trying to do more lately. It's kind of the fun part, keeping me more, I don't know, giving me something fun to do amidst Fittopedia. So yeah. Oh yeah, Terry, I know the notification thing is weird. All of a sudden, I have stopped getting notifications for comments. And I check on that anyway, but I was kind of like, oh my God, there's like 14 I've got to reply to. I got to watch this. YouTube's always changing something. That's funny. Yeah, I don't remember what they were, Terry. We were talking about it. Because the quick fits are a full belly adjustment and a flat, mostly a flat seat adjustment and maybe a full seat adjustment, or maybe just changing where the volume of the seat is, because some men are higher up and some are lower. And God, I can't remember what it is, but anyway, I'm just prepping the pattern for an archer. Nice. Yeah, you have to go. Yeah, I have to go in now. It just happened. I don't know what's up with that. That's fine, because they recently also, like, if I've replied to every single comment on my channel ever. If I haven't, it's a glitch. But if someone replies, like I reply to them and then they reply to me, like, thanks. I don't reply to that, because, you know, it can be a never-ending thing, right? For both of us. YouTube recently did this thing where they took all of those and called them unresponded comments, and it was like thousands, and I was like, oh no, I can't handle this. And then it went away, thankfully. People were like, just ignore it. I'm like, I can't. It's like a to-do list. So I'm really glad that fixed itself. That was crazy. I don't know. No Fairfield shirt this year. Derek, sorry. You're not sick of that? I've sewn so many of those. Maybe this fall. I have 2 planned. I've already bought fabric for them. So maybe this fall. I like hearing what you want to see. So, all right. But we will be doing men's jeans by Wardrobe by Me in a couple weeks. So It was nice to see you guys. And yeah. Check out for uploaded videos. I'm doing more of those lately. Join the guild. Everyone's super nice in there. It's chill. It's not like typical social media. You might find it more relaxing. So, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for coming, you guys. You're hoping to sew with me? Nice. I love it. So you're making men's jeans. Yeah. All right. See you guys. Bye.